those were added later so that we would have easy references. So you really just need to, get a sense of what the word is actually saying and what God is trying to say. Has this been helpful?
Very.
One question. How many books did John write?
It is thought that he wrote 5. There's some argument. Some groups say, I don't know. Some say, okay, so the Gospel according to John, and then 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and then the book of Revelation. So.
Okay. So, but some people disagree.
Right.
With which part of that?
Some people think that a different John wrote.
Oh, they think there are more than one John.
Yes.
These common names.
Yeah.
Miriam. Like, there are 5 Marys in the New Testament.
Well, you needed a Jerome to write a book, so you ain't going to dispute if it's going to be more than one of those. One Jerome. He wrote it.
Some last names, some social security numbers.
All right, so you all have a general gist now of how the book is laid out.
Washington, Jerome Washington.
So we run from the Moses' books, so the Pentateuch, run through the history books, the history of Israel. Then we go through the prophets, what the prophets had to say, right? I skipped the wisdom books. The wisdom books come after the history books. And then the prophets, minor and major. Then the gospels. Then the epistles or the letters. It's called the epistles or the letters. Is the next after the gospels comes the epistle.
Wait a minute.
Which are the letters. Because even the Acts, the book of Acts is a letter.
Oh, okay.
Paul says, he's writing a letter to his...
Romans through Hebrews.
Right, he's writing to Theophilus. So, most excellent Theophilus, I'm writing you an orderly account of what happened. And so he starts it in Luke, and he ends it in the book of Acts. Yes.
Question. I heard that Theophilus may not have been a real person. That it's a anagram for
A title.
Yes, for anybody who is hearing, like if a writer put like dear
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. We weren't there. Theophilus means, Theo means God, Philios means love or brother, and so to my beloved brother. So if you want to translate the name,
That's what I heard.
and say that, you know, but my name is Carol, and my middle name is Annette, and Carol means song, and Annette is taken from Anne, which is royal, so I mean, you know, the royal song. I mean, you can take it and make it what you want. The point is that through all, as much as man can mess up stuff, God in his divine providence and in his mercy and grace has allowed us to get the story. And through all of these years to think that we're still getting the truth. Nobody but God can make sure that the truth of his word gets through all of these years, through all of these voices, through all of this time. The truth and the light of who God is still stands.
I have a question.
Yes.
Just for clarification. So the epistles, again, are Acts through Hebrews. Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
And then the last section, James, Peter, what were they called? They weren't.
You know, I don't know that they have an
There's no
actual
time.
section. Yeah, you
Okay.
have John, the first 1, 2, and 3, John, yeah, those are not epistles. So you get the revelation. You get the,
Can we call them apostle letters?
no, there's actually a term for it, and I should know that answer.
Okay.
I should know that, but I'm blocking right now. Okay. Any other question? I guess that's all we're gonna pick up.
This is
That's what's really
That's
good.
interesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just funny that people always want to comment and talk about this, but have no clue the depths or the brevity of what it really means. So quick to pull out one little simple thing and then try to, yeah.
Expound. That's
This
a
is
good
why I
way.
love,
That's a good way of.
I love this Bible so much
Confound.
because it really is the story of God. I mean, how great a love. As often as we mess up, he still finds a way to come back and get us together and come back and pull us back together. And so there's a marvelous story. And so when you think about all the times we have messed up and all of that, but Jesus settled the score. I mean, he just settled it. He just settled it. So Romans tells us, he says, when Jesus comes back again, no man shall have an excuse. There'll be no excuse. You choose now who you're going to serve. There is no excuse. There, for anyone who wants to be saved, salvation is available. And if you don't want it, but there is no excuse for anybody not to be saved.
Now, do you have to be saved here on earth before you?
Well, yes, ma'am. You got to have your ticket.
Well,
Now, the old
What if
folks,
you live in outer
the slaves used to say, what, say, get on board,
What if you
get
live
on
in outer
board, little
space?
children, get on board.
Well, you know, I watch we watch all these Nazi shows and so on, and we figure, you know, we wonder about Hitler, we wonder about some of those
You know
other.
Hitler was half Jewish.
I know, but he didn't like them.
He was confused.
He didn't like them.
Satan has a way of causing people to lose their purpose. He likes to distort what God made, because we were made, that's next week's lesson, in the image of God.
Yeah.
And so when you don't like yourself, he didn't like the Jews and you half Jewish, what's wrong with that picture? That means you don't like who you are. What's
And
wrong?
so therefore
And
you're
the whole
projecting
area-
that outwardly.
Okay.
And the
So
Aryan
yeah.
race
Everybody
thing,
else.
he was brunette, brown eyes, but the Aryan race is supposed to be blonde hair,
Blonde.
blue eyes, and
Yeah.
he said that
Pure-
was superior.
yeah,
So then what are
pure
you? And why are
white
you
people.
why are you the leader?
He's dark, yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
There was a lot of confusion behind that whole regime, and it didn't end up being what he had planned for it to be. A lot of things evolved and so forth. But
You talking about
you
when he
wonder
was
if he's
the-
gonna be
You know,
where.
He was black power.
He said he divorced her because she was a nigga.
Oh yeah, there are many books.
On Hitler.
Yeah.
Can't take you
Yeah,
nowhere.
And some of the other.
Oh yeah, like he was into
leaders
the occult and stuff. And
So
He liked
this
animals,
is this book gives us the
Just
wonderful
Just random
story
facts.
of our God and the lengths and the breadth and the how far he was willing to go to save us. And so in an orderly format, the more and more. So what I'll do is we learn by repetition. So we're gonna go back, and every time we're gonna talk about the different sections again. So we're looking at the law first, the Pentateuch, get those words together. Then after that come the history. So we got history books and what's going on is after that comes the wisdom books. So we know what's in that section. After that comes the prophets. So you got the minor and the major prophets. And then after that you go into the New Testament, where you would start with the Gospels and then the epistles and then the work of the Revelation.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a book, or is it the Bible in its entirety, that would help one understand God's love for us as individuals? Is there a book that you read to help you, or is it just kind of the Bible in and of itself?
That depends. Is it a new Christian, a baby Christian? I would always, if somebody was trying to find out the extent to which God has gone to try to let you know how much he loved you, go to the Gospel according to John and read it.
Okay.
You cannot come out of the Gospel according to John and not recognize who you are. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. I mean, you can't read through that Jesus telling you, I am the good shepherd. can't read through that and not get a chance to see how you're connected and how you're part of that and the extent of his love. So I would send somebody to the Gospel of John. That's where I'd start them off.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Are we going to talk about the Apocrypha?
Next time. I'll bring you all a sheet and we'll handle whatever other questions you have. But in detail, no.
Okay.
That's not canonized scripture. And as scripture, I'll give you some information if you want to just be curious and you want to go look. But that's just out of curiosity. It is not going to help you or tell you any more that will help you in your relationship with God and in your move toward the Lord and the end time.
It's like watching the deleted scenes in a movie.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Okay,
That was very good analogy. Very good analogy.
so when you go to purchase a Bible, do you have to specify which Bible you're
There's so many. Which translation do you want?
Even on the Bible
What
app,
type
there are
of
so
Bible?
many
Yes.
that you can choose, like, different, I mean, it's just like
Yes,
a long just
different
thing of all of these
translations.
different translations of the Bible.
Yeah, that's why I tell you I've got 20-some Bibles in the house. And then you can buy all kinds of different kinds that go together. I have a parallel Bible that lines up the King James over here, the Living Bible here, and the NIV over here, all in one Bible. A Bible that has the Greek over here and the English over here,
NIV
and it's
stand?
word by word.
New International
Version.
Okay, I couldn't remember that. I knew NLT was
New Living
New
Translation.
Living
Living
Translation,
Translation.
but I was like, what is NIV stand?
And
Okay.
New Living Translation is actually a translation. You remember when it used to be the Bible?
Mhm.
And the Bible was a transliteration. It was paraphrasing.
Or the
But
book.
the New Living Translation is actually a translation
Okay.
and put in modern day language, but it is literally a translation.
Okay.
So it carries more authority. So if you have somebody who really just has difficulty understanding and reading the Bible, that's the one you may want to get.
NLT.
Yes.
Okay.
New
Living
one.
Translation.
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't remember
There's
what
a new
NIV
one,
stand.
but I have an old one that I've been reading forever.
There's a
But it's not,
that's a
it's not
paraphrase.
as beautiful. It just doesn't sound the same.
Yeah, but you got to come out of the King James. You got
I
to come out. You
know,
got
I
to come
know,
out.
Well, I
know,
read King
I
James
know.
just because, so when I hear scripture quoted,
Mm-hmm.
I'll know what it is, and then you read the, NLT for
Yeah,
your
that's
own
what-
understanding of it. But the King James, because
It's
people
prettier.
quote King James.
It's
More than-
pretty.
When
it's
they
pretty.
quote
I love-
scripture,
I love
during
the-
when people preach, they
beautiful,
quote
yeah.
King James, and so I want to know like what it is.
But that's why you'll notice most of the time, though, when I preach, I do not quote the King James. I will paraphrase or I'll read the scripture for you, tell you, go you read verse so-and-so, and I'll use the NIV rather than quote King James. And so that's intentional. So we want to be able to pick up the new language. There's a place in Isaiah that talks about one of the places where you can find a difference in Isaiah. Well, let's talk about this. In the NIV, it's not going to say that. The sundial of Ahaz is what you see in
I've heard this song.
the sundial in the King James. And for years, it was a story about how the Lord turned back time. And so the scripture says that the shadow on the sundial moved backwards. And so time backed up. When they came to the Dead Sea Scrolls and they got ready to look at it, because people have been looking for the sundial for years, they realized that the translation was incorrect. And that what the Lord did was move the shadow of the sun where it fell on the steps of the temple. The shadow moved back on the stairs of the temple. There
And that
was
wasn't
not
in a
a
movie?
sundial
I
of
remember
a
that
hut.
That was in a
somewhere.
movie.
So I say all that to say, though the translation was different and misconstrued, there's no mistaking who can move the shadow back on the temple or who can move the shadow back on the sundial. Only one. So the point was he turned back time.
Right.
Either one of them you used, he turned back time. I still don't know
Sci-fi.
but one
Mama
who can
named him
turn
Clay.
back time. So that's why it's the marvelous thing, which that it's gone down through all of these years, and you can have to pick and choose little places where things were slightly different, but
But the stories.
the story remains the same. Only God could do that. Okay. We're going to close for tonight. Next week, we're going to start off. We're going to do a quick review. And I'm going to do this quick review so you all can get this one down in your spirit. And then we're going to go and we're going to start with the book of Genesis. Okay? I trust that everybody has a copy of the 10% challenge. Yes, we're in for May, which is on tithing.
That was May 11 through 17.
Yes, you don't have the rest of it?
Okay.